Ichibei versus Yamamoto. Now, this used to be a big debate back when the Bleach first ended with the 686 chapters. We didn't have the novels, and I know to be a hardcore Bleach fan nowadays, you have to read those things. them novels give a lot of information, but with the return of the Bleach anime, Thousand Year Blood War arc, with adding certain, like, well, technically not filler, because Tite Kubo wanted those storylines to be in there, because in all honesty, the war arc was rushed near the end and a lot of stuff was left unsaid, where if you didn't read the novels, you didn't even know what happened to Kisuke or my girl Yodorichi. So there's a lot of stuff left. And I made a power scaling video years ago talking about my top 70 strongest Bleach characters, which I disagree with a decent amount of placements now, especially in the top 10. Now you got the Royal Guards actually looking good, having the whole Bankai, even though I don't understand why Ichibei is able to release his Bankai fine, but everyone else in the Zero Squad got to like do Kamikaze or whatever, Kamakiri, and take themselves out to do Bankai. But the big debate around Ichibei versus Yamamoto has changed a lot, because back in the day, a lot of people thought, well, Ichibei's like ink stuff, it can't really affect Yamamoto because his Bankai is so broken that everything that's liquid will just disappear around him. And we also believe that Yamamoto was able to beat the Almighty and was able to beat Yuha back in the day, and this is spoilers for the anime, so if you don't want spoilers for that, but when Ichibei faces the Almighty, he loses. And we felt like the only way that Yuha was able to beat Yamamoto is when he caught him when he was fatigued and took his Bankai. He couldn't fight him straight up. While he fought Ichibei straight up, fought with the Almighty straight up, and he was able to beat Ichibei, but he couldn't do the same thing to Yamamoto. Especially, we thought Yamamoto back in the day was probably stronger than where he is now, because he has two arms and he's a lot more ruthless. But nowadays, the argument has changed a lot, and my boy Yamamoto has went through a lot of story nerfs, man. So let's talk about it again. I'm not going to be as in-depth as some Bleach fans where they've been following stuff non-stop ever since the manga ended, where I followed to the manga ended, followed a little like sequel manga where they had the whole possibility of like a hell arc where adult Ichi goes around and his confusing ass Bankai and Shikai. But let's talk about it here. So we know how powerful Yamamoto's Bankai is, able to stop like everyone's like ice powers, like Hitsugaya or anyone with water abilities. It's just able to shut down that, and if he has it on too long, it can destroy the entire Soul Society. And just his Bankai has like 4 different abilities with with West, North, South, East. Very powerful character. One of the people that was able to actually beat Yuha back in the day, but there's been more context around that defeat, because with the recent episode, it was shown that Yuha was nerfed before he fought Yamamoto and lost, because a lot of people had that guess, but yes, Yamamoto fans didn't want to admit to it. It was like, yeah, it's a possibility, but nah, man, he beat him straight up. Like, why would Yamamoto brag about beating him if he was nerfed? But no, he had a conversation with Ichibei about his father and like the Soul King and what he did to him and all this other stuff. And Ichibei using like, I think I forgot the little spirit of like the right hand or the left hand of the Soul King. He took away the Almighty from Yuha, and he faced Yamamoto and lost. So even though Yamamoto has this broken hacks Bankai, that didn't really matter because he beat a nerfed Yuha. And even though we understand that he got caught off guard because Bankai stolen and then he lost, that doesn't really help, because in the anime they added a decent amount of filler, which I liked, but it showed him taking on a cloned Yuha and like taking a good minute to beat him, while you have Ichibei where before the Almighty is shown, he is beating like Yuha pretty like single-handedly. And I feel like the whole, well, how's his ink going to affect Yamamoto stuff doesn't really matter, because one, I remember a lot of us used to say, okay, well, Yamamoto has stated that there's no one stronger than him in the past like 1,000 years, while Ichibei is a lot older than Yamamoto. Like, Ichibei is like the first Bankai user. Hell, he's like one of the first Shinigami to ever exist. He is the leader of all the Shinigami, and the Zero Squad getting the respect they deserve now, with we actually seen them actually being able to compete with the Zero Squad and not just falling apart and just getting their crap wrecked. And Ichibei being the only Zero Squad member to release his Bankai, and his Bankai's not even called the Bankai, it's like called something completely else, which I don't know by heart right now. But he is able to just use his ink and just, if he can just cut names in half and completely nerf you. And I feel like the ink stuff doesn't really matter. I feel like the ink is more than just ink. I feel like it's like reishi, like different levels of power type ink, where it can probably still affect his Bankai, Yamamoto's Bankai. And not to mention where when he activates his Bankai abilities, he's like on a whole nother level. Like he can literally make Ichibei, he can make Yamamoto just an ant by just marking him and just weakening him to a point where what can he do? Like if the only thing that Yamamoto fans have is the whole, oh well, the ink can't touch him. What if that's not the case? And I feel like his powers and abilities are a whole new level. Like hell, even you can't even say his name without your voice being crushed. So yeah, and if Yamamoto can't say the name of his Bankai, he's done. So I feel like the hype around Ichibei is that he's been the strongest Shinigami way longer than 1,000 years. Hell, since the beginning of it, his whole squad created the Zanpakutos. He was able to take on a U-Haul with the Almighty, and he was able to push him to the corner where the Almighty had to be activated, while Yamamoto didn't even get to face U-Haul with the Almighty. Which you can also say that, oh well, he still could have stayed a chance, but his abilities are just so much more broken to me, and his scaling is even more broken when you really think about it compared to how they used to look back in the day. And mind you, the anime can add even more context, and he probably, like, we can get more filler to the fight as a whole. So I just think right now, I feel like there's no argument and there's no way Yamamoto can win. And I like his abilities. He can bring back the dead. He has these like abilities where he like condense his abilities to the point where it's hotter than the sun. He can cut things, but I feel like we have a person where he could take away names, half people's powers, change them into something they're not based off just pure hacks abilities, where I feel like that wasn't really shown as well in the manga, in my opinion. Well, in the anime, it's really showing you how broken this guy can really be and the new levels where he's at. And the fact that he was able to take away the Almighty when he had like help from the Soul King. Granted, I'm not going to allow that here, but yeah, I feel like for right now, the whole argument that was made back in like 2016, 2017, I don't think they work here, especially with the realization that Yamamoto didn't even face the Almighty. So I think it's not even close. I think Ichibei is now and forever going to be the strongest Shinigami before, you know, Ichigo and Aizen and everyone else is introduced. I think he is the strongest, and there's no more debate. Let me know in the comment section down below where you think I'm wrong. Do you think Yamamoto is the strongest old Shinigami before Ichigo and them, or do you think it's Ichibei? I think it's Ichibei. I think his powers are more bigger than just ink. I think he has like spiritual level ink, and we know how this stuff works in Bleach. With your Ryatsu or spirit pressure so much higher, all that hacks, all that, well, my ball can't be affected. Nah, son. Get Mugetsu, son. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below what you think. SonTJ, peace. Also, make sure that like button, hit the notification button, all those things. I'm going to probably have it at the beginning anyway. But yeah, SonTJ, peace. Love you all.